Hi, I'm Paul and this is Game Turtle. Fables from the Den is a digital picture book of sorts, based around the themes and aesthetic of the Shelter series of video games by Might and Delight. I've long expressed my love of this series, and this project seems to have been a great opportunity for the creators to further diversify themselves. This video is also a uni project for a children's lit class, so my discussion will be on those terms. Anyways, enjoy. Fables from the Den is described on its own title screen as a living book. This is an appropriate descriptor, as it's a collection of little picture book stories with that little bit extra added in the form of movement and sound as part of its digital format. This is not the first time Might and Delight have worked on a digital storybook, and I've spoken about their prior outing, The Lonesome Fog, briefly in an earlier video. Might and Delight's other creations have often reflected a warmth and care through their work, so it doesn't surprise me at all to see them work on a very deliberate teaching item, that of the fable. Fables really is a great way to describe this collection of tiny stories, as they are exactly that. Each tale pushes a strong moral direction, with plenty of variety of themes spread across the 9 tales. Also, each story features anthropomorphized animals in human situations. Essentially, each fable is designed to teach a life lesson. Each of the book's fables are short and concise. They're only 4 pages long each. These stories are accessible through the main screen of the game, featuring a troop of animals lying about inside a den. Each fable is framed as a story being told to the group by one of the creatures, and after each story, the animals make little remarks about the story they just heard. It adds a little more character to what otherwise would be a simple list of stories. The text flows well, and makes use of the 4-page layout to great effect. The introductory page sets the scene. The second page then describes the conflict or begins the solution. The third describes how this process went, before the 4th and final page ties it all together into the story's theme. The tales use a lot of descriptive words and colourful language, such phrases as "woke up with a jolt," "failing to get a rise from the fish," and "hearty laughs" bring a lot of flavour to proceedings. The stories also make use of wordplay throughout. For example, in a tale about a greedy badger, the conflict arises when he drops his precious radish into a river. The final page begins with, "soaking wet, and as the cost of his actions began to sink in," before imparting the disappointing outcome of the badger's decisions. The writing as a whole is spattered with similar wordplay, livening up each of the stories. It seems like Fables from the Den is best suited to an adult reading to a child, as the vocabulary used is quite advanced. There are a lot of words included in this collection that wouldn't be a part of a child's basic vocabulary, so having the scaffolding of an informed adult would be ideal when reading these stories. The artwork in Fables from the Den is absolutely stunning. Watercolour has been used to great effect here. Each piece of art has vivid colorization, and the jagged environments look sharp and contrast nicely with the soft shading of the artwork. Each page makes heavy use of negative space. The animals themselves are brilliantly cute, with a lot of character to them. Alongside supporting and running parallel to the actions of the text, the pictorial elements bring a lot of additional charm to the stories. I was expecting more use of the medium's strengths for these stories, honestly. Outside of a backing track and ambient nature sounds, the digital format hasn't really been used for much at all here. The pictures on each page could have even been slightly animated. The menu is animated at least. Overall, Fables from the Den is presented in a very bare-bones way, which is fine. The fables themselves are good, but I can't help but feel that Might and Delight didn't make as much use of the digital format as they could have. It frankly feels more like the book was released this way specifically to avoid the effort, challenge, and commitment of printing a physical book, which is admittedly understandable. So, what is the artist's goal with this book? To me, it seems to have been designed to teach children moral lessons, so it demands to be reviewed on those terms. The fables are clear in their messages and should be effective at initiating meaningful conversations with youngsters. The book feels like it could have been taken further, and taken greater advantage of the format, but what is here is well constructed. Overall, Fables from the Den isn't anything exceptional. It's a competently presented collection with the always terrific presentation I come to expect from Might and Delight. Even within the same series, I personally favour the original Shelter and Meadow, experiences that offer something unique and moving and powerful. However, the collection does ultimately do everything it sets out to do. As a children's book, I would feel very happy reading this to a child, who would no doubt be won over by the whimsical artwork and style. Beyond that, it broaches some valuable conversations worth having with a child, and the imagery itself really is terrific. Fables from the Den is an interesting side note in the studio's wonderful Shelter series.